Thank you. Julia Cameron says, to clear your mind, you have to prime the pump. This is the her words. And to prime the pump, you sit down and you do nothing but write 3 morning pages every day, because that is what's going to get the chatter out of your mind. And I evaluated what I sat and wrote for my 3 morning pages a couple days ago, and I realized that I switched subjects in 1 or 2 sentences. I mean, every sentence, every other sentence was a new subject, because as soon as I heard something else, I wrote it down, and I wrote it down, and I wrote it down. And so I didn't keep going and on a single thing, where when I channel information, I'm able to hold on topic, whether it's a paragraph, whether it's 10 paragraphs, whether it's 5 pages, I'm able to hold on topic. So there's a huge difference in being able to channel versus just sitting down and emptying your mind. And so I really got that as a very close example for myself. The next thing that I wanted to say was that you're able, when you write your story, and it doesn't matter how insignificant you think your story is, because my son wants, I've encouraged my son to write his story, even though he's only 29 years old. Almost every single person that he employs in Brooklyn is a felon. And yet, he was able to get $1 million worth of gross business in 2011 with convicted felons working for him. I thought that was actually quite admirable, because everybody says they're willing to give a felon a chance. He doesn't. And I feel that should be shared. That part of his life should be publicized. In this manner, you're able to influence unborn generations, people that are coming down the pipe. You never know who needs to hear what you have to say. So I really feel that it's really very, very important that you simply just write your story. There is one thing, and I don't have the statistic on it as to how many were in the study, but there was a Harvard study done of Harvard graduates. And the general consensus opinion is that, well, if you've managed to get to Harvard, you're a success. It's inevitable that you're a success. Not so. What they discovered was 20% of the people were successful. 5% of those were financially independent. Those 5% had clear written goals. 15% were very well off. They had very clear ideas of what their goals were, even though maybe some said they had written some things down, but not other things. But the 80% were living paycheck to paycheck. These are Harvard graduates. And so I thought, well, this is quite interesting. This is another reason, to write. I know in my case, I was able to uncover the higher purpose for my life. Because there was a time where I literally thought I would live and die as a real estate broker. I couldn't see how I could transition into anything else, especially the love of my heart, because it didn't seem like it, I just couldn't see it. And so now it doesn't, that is absolutely, when I think back on that, it seems almost comical, it seems quaint. But at least, at the time when I was going through the throes how do I get out, how do I transition from real estate into spiritual work in the mid-90s. It seemed virtually impossible. The last things are simply what I call using specialized journals. One of them is to have a journal that's specifically geared for gratitude. And the best reason to have a gratitude journal is because not only is it going to make you feel better by writing what you feel grateful for every night, but it's also been medically proven. One of my friends had a cardiologist who told her after she had a stent put inside her heart that she had to write 50 things every single night before she went to bed that she was grateful for, because he absolutely believed in the attitude of gratitude in terms of helping her heart come around. She was one of these people that absolutely was a very funny person, but the unfortunate thing was that she used her husband as the butt of her jokes most of the time. So as a result, even though, yes, she was funny and a lot of people laughed, somebody wasn't feeling very good about it. And so there was something that had to change in that. I also discovered that when I needed to vent, instead of venting against a person, if I could just vent on paper and, throw out what I felt, the negative attitudes that I felt, that I was able to clear my energy field. And I have had a couple clients that have said to me, Alice, if somebody read what I've written, they would either think I'm homicidal or they think I'm suicidal, or both. But my attitude, my rebuttal to that is, if you have that much anger inside of you, better to get it out on paper than to have it inside, stuffed inside of you. So I just feel that this is another reason why you absolutely have to write. And the last thing is to help you to forgive. There is a little thing that I do. There's an exercise that I give my clients, and especially people that have had such traumatic experiences that, in more than one case, father that raped them from the time they were babies, and other, issues all bordering on sexual abuse. I would ask them to do a T-square and say, write their story and then put their benefit. Because I said, for every single bad thing that happened to you, the flip side of that is that there is a benefit to it. And sometimes the benefit doesn't look like a benefit on the surface, and sometimes the only thing that you can say is, I will never treat any human being on the face of this earth in this manner. But that's a benefit. And so once they could see that, they were able to do the exercise. Not all of them, but most of them, or at least they found the value in it. And so by doing this too, and especially once people start going into and increasing their level of spirituality, because they're following other things like doing A Course in Miracles, doing other things, they are able to see that this helps them forgive, because that's the whole purpose of the exercise. It gets them to a place where they can absolutely get and see that theirs was nothing but a story. And the person especially when I'm able to uncover a past life that shows the flip side of what they're experiencing in this lifetime, which happens many, many times. So that gives them a whole different perspective on their life and puts them in a position where they can forgive. So the last item on my checklist here is specialized journals. I do keep a gratitude journal, and I write 5 gratitudes every night. I keep a dream journal, and I write my dreams down and my synchronicities in the dream journal. I have these yellow pads for morning pages, and then I have, every once in a while, I'll buy another fancy journal, and just to have it because I always find some use for it. And so I'm able to constantly, I feel that I constantly put down on paper what it is that's going on inside of me. And I also then feel that I have a way, a handle on my life that's much, much better than it ever was before. So, and I do so encourage you to write down every single thing that happens to you that you want to capture, even if it's something that just expresses an emotion in you for the moment. Because it's, when you go back and you reread that, if you've had a bad day and you reread something about a great day that you had, it automatically just lifts you up. So, but anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that part of it. And so now, I'm sorry?
How often do you read your journals?
Not very often.
Okay.
Yeah, not very often. I will reread my blogs when I channel. I will reread those. But again, not very often. Yeah. All right, let's turn to the dream interpretation. And Ted, I think we can shut it off.